there's a whole industry on the internet now of bashing so-called narcissists, and it's not really a scholarly endeavor. It's mostly about appealing to people's lowest in-group exclusion instincts, um, and monetizing them. So yeah, that's a good way to make money, is to appeal to othering and sex also. But in this case, it's not as much about sex. It's just about how evilly evil the narcissist ex-boyfriend or girlfriend is. But if you look at the scholarly literature, it's a lot more complicated than being able to put people in a box. First of all, there is a continuum for narcissistic personality disorder. So all of us actually have some traits to some extent of what's been so far considered narcissism. And second, there's different kinds of narcissism. Apparently, there's overt and covert narcissism. Um, and the traits are complicated and not well understood, and the connection to childhood trauma and attachment style is not clear. The earliest reports and experiments figured that there was a high correlation with avoidant or dismissive attachment, but at least one experiment I found also saw that there was a correlation with anxious attachment. So the traits range from grandiosity to arrogance, self-serving, self-enhancing, and disagreeable behavior. That's pretty intuitive. But then there's also dysregulation in self-esteem and the way we present our emotions to the world. Psychologists call that affect. And of course, also empathic capability, but it's complex. They have some cognitive empathy, but they can't really feel empathy so much. Other traits that have been noticed by clinicians are inferiority, insecurity, shame, intense self criticism, interpersonal control and hostility, and strong, intense reactions both to perceived threats to self esteem and to criticism and defeat. Also, obsession with self sufficiency and interpersonal control are expressed in a range of attitudes and behavior, from self assertive independence and self protection to dominance and power, and to critical, aggressive, sadistic, intrusiveness or cruelty to others. Sadistic intrusiveness, okay. Sometimes this is also noticed as interpersonal control, i.e., an avoidant, distant, or uncommitted interpersonal behavior that serves to escape potential intolerable effects or threats to self esteem evoked in closeness to others. But rather than getting into all this complexity, some of these narcissism gurus have developed sort of simple minded ways to supposedly identify the narcissist, such as they love bomb you, they gaslight you, they hoover you, and these things. I don't know if there's any experiments that actually show reproducible results or ways to distinguish what is gaslighting from what is just trying to talk about clarification of a concept. What is love bombing? I mean, can you tell when someone is being genuinely loving and when someone is pretending to love? Is it always narcissism when there is judgment happening? Um, so yeah, I don't I don't think these things are necessarily that useful except for making money on the internet. And it can also be damaging to just point fingers at others. It could be a case of Jungian shadow projection. I mean, if we all have narcissistic traits, then maybe we should look at those and see if we want to change them or how useful they are in, to ourselves and to others. Yeah, and then there's the obsession with personal power and the hypersensitivity with criticism, which I've also talked about earlier. People have seen that's something that avoidant attachment creates. So it's an overlap with narcissism. But it seems like people who rail against it have those two traits as well. So what's going on? Is it really that useful to just point fingers at the other side and call them names? Can we try to have some compassion and understanding instead? And maybe I should have been more compassionate towards the narcissism gurus. I mean, I do think they are trying to be helpful, not just to make money. So thank you for that.